And now, DreamWorks Kung Fu Panda, Legends of Awesomeness.
Hear the legends. Panda, Legends of Awesomeness. Sweet.
Assalamualaikum guys, this is my collection is here. In this video I am going to tell you that at Mr. Ping noodle shop, Po waited table and was shown to be unusually distressed. After expressing how he was no longer the dragon warrior, Mr. Ping explained to the curious customer that the Furious Five had also lost their job as the warrior of the Jade Palace and were reduced to work as entertainer of child birthday parties. Furthermore, Shifu has been disappeared and had not been seen for that day. Po retreated to his room and unhappily sit and reflect on the event that led to the present. Week period, he and the Furious Five had rehearsing for the presentation of the Seven Forms by performing the Pyramid of Fortune, which required the five to create a balanced pyramid together, on top of which Po would be balanced. In the practice of this form, however, Po caused the pyramid to topple with his own addition of the one-handed spin. Shifu was displeased by this, insisting that the form had to be carried out in the traditional manner, as it was to be performed for the Master Chao and Jungji of the Sacred Onyx Council, who was trained alongside Shifu under the Wu Wei. Shifu stressed that the quality of the presentation would be judgment of his abilities as a teacher, and that his student must not to do anything to embarrass him, stressing this especially to the Po. At that exactly moment, Shao and Chungji suddenly arrived, and Po graded them, displaying his fanboy mannerism, which left the two masters less than impressed. Chao then started to Shifu that it was time to partake in the master's ceremonial sparring. Po was eager to see this, yet Shifu insisted that he was not yet ready to witness it. Disappointed, Po left the slum in the stair, while Jungji assumed it that he should be allowed to watch them spar. As he was a dragon warrior, he offered to leave the door open for Po to peek in and watch. That night, Po sneaked into the front door of the Jade Palace to witness the masters sparring at each other. After a silent meditative moment, Shifu, Jungji and Chao all launched into the air on streams of colored light and sparred rhythmically in the air and on the ground. Much to the Po fascination, at one point, however, Jungji broke broke the rhythm of the control, sparring to deal Shifu a brutal kick to the chest, earning to re-pyramid the Shago. After a brief side remark from the Red Panda, Jungji continued to attack and noticed that Po was watching the fight from the door. The fox then startled his fellow master by performing the golden lotus clap, a move that he viewed with open eye, blinded anyone who witnessed it. Shifu and Shao looked away while Po was blown back from his speech outside the door and instantly found himself completely blind. Unaware of this, Shago told Shifu it was time for his student to perform the presentation of the seven forms. The five could be reported to the Hall of Warrior, and Tigress, unaware of Poe's condition, dragged the sightless Poe in with him into the Jade Palace. Under the sanctuary of the Master, the Pyramid of Fortune was performed flawless until Poe, unable to see, ran in and ultimately picked the entire presentation. The Master quickly figured out Poe had been blind from spying on the sparring match, and once eyesight was restored with the golden lotus clap, Shago threatened Shifu on the inability to maintain discipline among his students. Despite Poe's protest, Shago reluctantly announced that Shifu was no longer fit to be the master of the Jade Palace and demoted him on the spot. Poe tried again to defend his master, which prompted Shifu to scold him for questioning Shago's discretion, and he had dishearteningly accepted Shago's judgment, leaving the palace and ordering his students to do as Shago and he commanded them. Before Shago departed, he announced to be he was the new master of the Jade Palace, and that Poe and the five were bound by honor to obey him. The Poe explained that he would restore the Jade Palace to even greater glory than it was before. As soon as the Shago left, however, Jungji bluntly gave Poe and the five the command to get out. Five leopards quickly appeared at Jungji's side, and the fox smugly remarked that Poe and the five have been replaced and are no longer needed. Poe again tried to protest, but the five were intent to keep their promise to Shifu and remain obedient to Jungji, and left quietly without resistance. Before walking away from the Poe, after he tripped on the stair, Tigers rebuked him is disobeying Shifu's order and essentially losing everything they had, all but their life. Words a warrior, finally starting that she and the five are through with him. Back in the present, Poe ruminated on just how much he had messed up things in hope of cheering him up. Mr. Ping sent Poe to take an order delivery to the Jade Palace. Poe complied through as he neared the place with his delivery. He overheard a conversation inside. Peeking in through the door, he noticed that Jungji had been busy redesigning the palace interior with modify of him defeating Shifu, and the fog himself seeing how he was going to destroy Shifu. Furthermore, Shifu was being held prison in the catacombs beneath the palace, and Poe barely avoided being caught by the leopard when Jungji hurled him at the door. Po hurried back down to the valley and explained the situation to his father. Though he tried to convince the Furious Five to help him, they refused to hear him out and angrily reject the Panda. Despite his father's warriors, Po decided to save Shifu himself and headed back to the palace. After sneaking into the main hall, however, Jungji discovered him. Po prepared to fight Jungji, telling him he was going to bust Shifu out. Yet both were surprised when Shago, who had come to check on Jungji's progress, appeared now aware of the foe's tragedy. Shago was quickly brought down with the baggage of arrow to the back, and Po hurried to help the lizard master, which distracted him long enough for Jingri to knock out the Panda with a kick to the head. Meanwhile, Mr. Fink had gone to find the Furious Five, who were still working their birthday parties packings. He explained to him that what had happened to Po and Shifu, and thought hesitant at first. Mr. Fink convinced them otherwise when he told them that while Po might not be perfect, he is not a liar when something like this is important. Back at the palace, walked into the catacomb and found himself chained up along with the Shago and Shifu. Po sarcastically point out that his rescuer is her. Who apologized to his master, but Shifu said that he that one who should apologize, telling Po that he had returned to the face Jungji after pretending to leaving the place, but was defeated when Jungji released his leopard student on him. He also admitted to Po that if he had not been so hard to follow tradition, they would not find themselves in this situation. After this, Po quickly came up with an idea and performed the golden lettuce clap, which allowed him to break his own chain, but also blinded him yet again, as he had forgotten to close his eyes in the process. Up in the main hill, Jungji and his student fed the pulse from the clap, but were stopped from storming the catacomb when the Furious Five showed up and engaged them in battle. Jungji ordered his leopard student to take them while he escaped to the catacomb. Finding Po blind and feared from his wound, Jungji attacked the struggling Panda, after which Po got the idea of using the torch in the room, plugging both him and Jungji into complete darkness. However, Po was able to smell where Jungji was due to the garlic cow's mane is delivered to the palace the previous day, and used this to gain the upper hand over Jungji. Up above, the five managed to dispatch the leopards and raced for the catacomb to help Po. Finding him a chained Jungji and fretted Shifu and Shago on the scene when they arrived. Later out in the front of the Jade Palace, Shago restored Shifu as master of the Jade Palace and expressed his gratefulness to Po for teaching them that sometimes doing the right thing is more important than following the old rules. He departed unceremoniously, kicking a bound Jungji and his leopard student down the stair, and proceeding to take them to the Shogun prison. Po then bragged that he had actually managed to teach Shifu something, suggesting this meant he would get more respect from now on. Shifu responded by saying he now respected Po so much that he could not insult him by fixing his eyesight for him. Alarmed at first, Poe claimed that he could fix it himself, proving this by probably tripping down the stair yet again. This is the end of the episode.